Hello, I am Adriel M. Danseco of BSIT3A, and I'm going to discuss some topics for our midterms in computer systems and platform technologies. So the midterm topics include tangible and intangible platforms, the proper management of secondary storage, the 7 layers of OSI model, and network platform. So what are tangible platforms? This is a set of compatible hardware in which software applications can be run. So tangible meaning something perceptible by touch. Some examples of these platforms are I/O devices such as mouse, keyboard, and monitors, the CPU or central processing unit, computer hardware, and the memory, which is the main memory or secondary memory. On the contrary, intangible platforms are software environments that is used to write applications and run them. Intangible meaning cannot be perceived by physical touch. Some examples are libraries, builders, the operating system, and compilers. This also includes data, files, and programs. So what is the role of tangible and intangible platforms in modern computer systems? Tangible and intangible platforms are interconnected. Without software, the hardware of a computer would have no function. However, without the creation of hardware to perform tasks directed by software via the central processing unit, software would also be useless. So both the tangible and intangible platforms work together for a computer system to work properly. So now we're going to discuss about secondary storage. Secondary storage, alternatively referred to as external memory, secondary memory, and auxiliary storage, is a non-volatile device that holds data until it is deleted or overwritten. The OS provides the common access routes to the secondary storage devices. It will keep track of data and perform common functions such as copying, erasing, and backing up data. The proper management of secondary storage is of central importance to a computer system. That is because the main memory, or primary storage, is volatile and too small to accommodate all data and programs permanently. So the computer system must provide secondary storage to back up the main memory. The operating system is responsible for the following activities in connection with secondary storage management: mounting and unmounting, free space management, storage allocation, disk scheduling, partitioning, and protection. So what is mounting and unmounting? Mounting is a process by which the operating system makes files and directories on a storage device such as hard drives, CD-ROM, or network share available for users to access via the computer's file system. Mounting compromises the operating system's acquiring access to the storage medium. While unmounting is the process in which the operating system cuts off all user action. Unmounting is the process in which the operating system cuts off all user access to files. While unmounting is the process in which the operating system cuts off all user access to files and directories on the mount point. It writes the remaining queue of user data to the storage device, refreshes file system metadata, then relinquishes access to the device, making the storage device safe for removal. Free space management. The system keeps track of the free disk blocks for allocating space to files when they are created, also to reuse the space released from deleting the files. The system maintains a free space list which keeps track of the disk blocks that are not allocated to some file of directory. The free space list can be implemented mainly as bitmap or bit vector, linked list, grouping, or counting. Storage allocation is to provide ways to dynamically allocate portions of memory to programs at their request and free it for reuse when no longer needed. This is critical to any advanced computer system where more than a single process might be undertaking at any time. This scheduling is done by operating systems to schedule I/O requests arriving for the disk. This scheduling is also known as I/O scheduling. This scheduling is important because it keeps the performance of the OS in an efficient manner. There are many disk scheduling algorithms such as FCFS, which is the simplest disk algorithm, SSTF or shortest seek time first, and SCAN. Partition. A partition is a logical division of a hard disk that is treated as a separate unit by operating systems and file systems. This allows the drive to operate as several smaller sections to improve efficiency, although it reduces usable space on the hard disk. The OS and file systems can manage information on each partition as if it were a distinct hard drive. Protection refers to a mechanism which controls the access of programs, processes, or users to the resources defined by a computer system. We can take protection as a helper to multi-programming operating system. Protection is important because it helps to prevent the access of unauthorized users and to ensure that each active programs or processes in the system uses resources only as the stated policy. And it helps to improve reliability by detecting latent errors. 7 layers of the OSI model. The OSI model, or the Open System Interconnection Model, is a conceptual framework used to describe the functions of a networking system. The OSI model characterizes computing functions into a universal set of rules and requirements in order to support interoperability between different products and software. In the OSI reference model, the communications between a computing system are split into 7 different abstraction layers: physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, and application. These are the 7 layers of the OSI model. So the first is the physical layer. The physical layer is the lowest layer of the OSI model. It is concerned with electrically or optically transmitting raw unstructured database across the network from the physical layer of the sending devices to the physical layer of the receiving device. It can include specifications such as voltages, pin layout, cabling, and radio frequencies. At the physical layer, one might find physical resources such as network, hubs, cabling, repeaters, network adapters, and modems. The second layer is the data link layer. At the data link layer, directly connected nodes are used to perform node-to-node data transfer where data is packaged into frames. The data link layer also connects errors that may have occurred at the physical layer. The data link layer encompasses 2 sublayers of its own. The first, MAC or Media Access Control, provides flow control and multiplexing for device transmission over a network. The second, the LLC or Logical Link Control, provides flow and error control over the physical medium as well as identifies line protocols. The third layer is a network layer. The network layer is responsible for receiving frames from the data link layer and delivering them into the intended destination based on the addresses contained inside the frame. The network layer finds the destination by using logical addresses such as IP or Internet Protocol. At this layer, routers are a crucial component used to quite literally route information where it needs to go between networks. The fourth layer is the transport layer. The transport layer manages the delivery and error checking of data packets. It regulates the size, sequencing, and ultimately the transfer of data between systems and hosts. One of the most common examples of transport layer is TCP, or the Transmission Control Protocol. The fifth layer is the session layer. It controls the conversations between different computers. A session or connection between machines is set up, managed, and terminated at layer 5. Session layer services also include authentication and reconnections. The sixth layer is the presentation layer. It formats or translates data for the application layer based on the syntax or semantics that the application accepts. Because of this, it is also called the syntax layer. This layer can also handle the encryption and decryption required by the application layer. And the last is the application layer. At this layer, both the end user and the application layer interact directly with the software application. This layer sees network services provided to end user applications such as a web browser or Office 365. The application layer identifies communication partners, resource availability, and synchronized communication. Network platform. A network-based platform is a piece of technology or software that connects users with other members of a community to create mutually beneficial opportunities. Instead of simply being a tool to use within the four walls of an organization, network-based platform helps users find opportunities by connecting them with other users in the network while simultaneously fulfilling a function. Some examples of network platform are social media, ride-sharing, and fitness tech. Social media network-based platforms have been incredibly popular and very common at the consumer level. Social media sites such as LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram rely on the network effect to retain users and scale their operations. The more people who join the platform, the more valuable the platform is to everyone else. Ride-sharing. Ride-sharing technology has also taken off thanks to the network effect. Companies like Uber and Lyft and Grab here in the Philippines are based on a network of people looking for rides and people who can offer rides for a fee. This service isn't merely a regular car rental. Instead, these ride-sharing platforms connect thousands of individuals who otherwise would never have the opportunity to collaborate. And lastly, fitness tech. The fitness industry has also incorporated the network effect into their technologies. Fitbit, for example, isn't only a personal health monitoring device. It's also a service to connect individuals with similar It's also a service to connect individuals with similar lifestyle goals. Getting people to collaborate isn't only an added social benefit for users. It can literally make the technology more effective for achieving fitness goals. And that's all for my discussion today. I hope you have learned something. The sources for the topics are in the description down below.